Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Mette, for gathering us all here in this beautiful place to discuss most important topic of nowadays. And this is, of course, the war in Ukraine. And first of all, I think it's so important that we have reinforced our unity and our transatlantic approach. I am a strong believer in transatlantic ties, and it is so obvious to all of us that given such jeopardies and aggression and barbarian attacks as the Russian attack on Ukraine, NATO can be the only blocker, the only showstopper for any further attacks on eastern flank of NATO, eastern flank of the European Union. So the reinforcing of our unity and transatlantic dimension is extremely important. But we have also asked critical questions. Are we sufficiently strong in defending our European values? In Ukraine, the Ukrainian soldiers and people of Ukraine fight for the most important European and free world values: sovereignty, freedom, right to live, and other critical values. And I think the answer is no, we are not doing enough. We have not done enough to defend Ukraine, to support Ukrainian people, to defend their freedom and sovereignty. And this is why I urge you, I ask you to do much more to deliver weapon, artillery to Ukraine. They need this to defend their country, to defend their territorial integrity and sovereignty. Where is our credibility if Ukraine fails? Can we imagine that Ukraine fails and we revert back to business as usual? I hope not. I just hope that not only the 7 of us from the European Council who have been gathered by Mark and Mette cannot imagine such a scenario. I cannot imagine such a scenario. I just believe that this would be a complete failure and disaster of the European Union, of our values, and of NATO. And this is why it is so important that we focus on efficient, effective support of Ukraine here and now, not in several weeks' time, not in several months' time, here and now. And herewith, what is also very important is supporting Ukrainian ambitions on their road to the European Union. We support giving them the candidate status as quickly as possible, because Ukrainian people need hope, and this is their major hope for the future. In our discussion, we have been also focusing on a very important topic: fighting disinformation and fighting Russian propaganda. And Antonio indicated also at, Russian propaganda in Africa. And it is very important that we are aware that Russian disinformation efforts and propaganda are so dangerous for all of us, and this is why we have to fight this propaganda. In Poland, we host some 2.5 million Ukrainian refugees. These are mothers with children, predominantly mothers with children. They all found shelter in Poland. We have given access to our healthcare system, educational system, our social security system. They want to go back to Ukraine, but they can stay in Poland for as long as they want, as long as they feel they will feel secure in Poland, and they know that they are welcome in Poland as well. In Ukraine, there is a war of Europe against Russian imperialism. Russia and Putin distilled from the modern history the worst which you can imagine: colonialism, imperialism, and nationalism, and very nasty form of nationalism as well. This is why we all have to fight with Russia and we have to unite our efforts. And one last thing, look at what is happening with the price of raw materials, natural resources, and wheat, crops, grain. This is yet another type of weapon of the Kremlin against the free world. Putin wants to create famine in Africa, in Middle East, with the hope that yet another migration crisis will destabilize the European Union. This is why we have to take a very decisive stance here and now with regard to the war in Ukraine.